I'm going to explain how your relationship can be saved or your life can be saved. This video is very important for all the boyfriends and girlfriends, wives and husbands, all of the relationships, all the people that have a relationship. This video is for you, okay? Now, I've been through this. We've all been through this. Most people nowadays, when talking about relationships, they live in a love and hate dynamic, what we call power games, right? In other words, you like the person, sure, you're with them, right? But it's not that unconditional love that whatever happens, you're with them, right? You see, the unconditional love, for as hard as it may sound, removes tons of energy out of the way, removes like a lot of weight out of a relationship, okay? Both sides. And I'm going to explain how to get there. I'm going to explain how your relationship can be saved or your life can be saved. Because if you play love and hate games, you're most likely playing these games throughout your entire life. Okay? Now, what do I mean by love and hate games? Well, that dynamic where if the person does something, and I'm not saying they will do something that you don't like, but if they do anything that you don't like, now you feel like they hurt you. Now you've been hurt. Now you feel like now you consumed some pain. You bought into the pain. You bought into the suffering. Now you need to pay back. So you need to hurt them back, right? So if they do something wrong, you feel like you need to win the argument, right? And you need to become somewhat of a tyrant, right? And you need to hurt them back. Now you see how the resentment starts growing little by little. It starts very small. The resentment starts very small, but it can start in the very beginning of the relationship. Anything that happens, there's a little bit of resentment that starts growing and growing and growing until it becomes unsustainable. Okay? You need to break out of the love and hate relationship, which is not real love. Okay? We're talking about medium romantic love, right? Is the love that is convenient. It's the good feelings. Let's not call love like that, right? And it maybe is not hate like either, but love and hate, like romantic love and hate, are two good words to portray this, right? These are power games. You actually, your only interest is in yourself. In a relationship, for it to work, the interest has to be in the relationship. The relationship has to be an alliance of two people, and it becomes its own thing. A relationship is not two people. A relationship is one alliance. That's the only way it works. When the two people's priority is to maintain the alliance. Okay? So a relationship is not one person, one man and a woman, or whatever it is. Two people, okay? No. The relationship is you form an alliance and a third entity comes from that, which is the relationship, the alliance, okay? That's the only thing that's going to really, really work, and you can have a thriving relationship, okay? And you can have a relationship of that will be sustainable and give you many fruits, favorable fruits to come. This is where you want to exist, okay? But some people are so used to the love and hate dynamic of constant micro vigilance, micro panicking, micro jealousy, whatever you want to call it, right? Is that really our greatest potential? Living in that dynamic for years and years and years? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Is it? You need to give that up, okay? And how to do that? Well, you need to understand that you need to disconnect from the ego. The ego wants to dominate, wants to control things that are not even reasonable, okay? I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen in your relationship. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? I'm not saying you're going to cheat on your partner or the partner is going to cheat on you. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about all of the things that can happen. Every discussion, anything. Something that the person tells you, you can take that wrong because your ego is emotionally involved, is overly emotionally involved. Too much. Too much. You can't get this animalistic emotional involvement in these things. It's a lower level of consciousness. It's always going to sabotage you, because every time the person says something or does something and your ego is the one who interprets it and not your sovereign self that knows the truth of what life is, okay, and that nobody's perfect and that you shouldn't get involved like that, okay? If your ego takes it, then you bought into the pain, then you're gonna drop the pain back at them in a cycle of resentment, and you're both are gonna slash, you're gonna be cutting yourselves little by little with words, with behavior. Then it turns into passive aggressiveness, right? Where you don't say something bad, but you omit things. You're aggressive passively. You just omit. You make a face, or you send an energy, right? That is aggressive, but it's passive. All of that resentment. I mean, a relationship is, a spouse or a partner. There are people that are going to be there for a long time. What are you doing with all that energy? Do you really want to live that life? People, I think people underestimate relationships, okay? They're a big part of your life. They're a big part of your life. They're a big foundation of your life. And you need to understand really how to extract the correct potential out of a relationship, because a relationship can make you sick. A relationship can make you unwell. A relationship can really make you depressed or frustrated or whatever it is. We hear about toxic relationships all the time. Okay? So you need to learn to I'll give an extreme example. You need to learn to be like, let the person do the worst they can do. My connection is not with that. I have a path with God. I'm here. I'm here. Powerless to do anything. Powerless. Do you know how much power there is in that? If both people do that, if both people behave like that, the relationship reaches a different level. I'm not saying that the person is going to do something bad. I'm not saying somebody's going to do something bad to hurt you. No, I'm talking about the attitude of mind and the emotional attitude that you should take into a relationship. That kills That kills 100% of the noise, 100% of the clutter, the dirt, the mud that permeates through a relationship. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've been there. You need to have a different attitude. They can do the absolute worst. So what? They can say whatever they want to say. So what? It's okay. And unless, you know, something very important is you need to have the same values, right? You need to live by the same principles, okay? You need to be going to the same direction in life, right? I mean, if I want to go right and she wants to go left, then where are we going to meet, right? So in the foundation, right, you both need to be looking for the same thing. You see life the same way, you see God the same way. Okay? That's very important. But that's a different question. That's when you're meeting, that's called a selective process, right? You're selecting the person. I mean, or you're just, it's in the beginning, but you need to be aware of that as well. You need to be aligned in your values, right? But in the next phase, this is really the attitude of two empowered, sustainable humans that are able to get into an alliance. Otherwise, you're going to give space to pain and resentment, which is the thing that destroys all of the relationships, or most of them. You know, you can't generalize all of them, of course. Anything can happen, but most of them, they're based on in resentment. That is a way to transcend the power games, the love and hate games that people play all the time. And it's not only in intimate relationships. That happens with most people throughout their lives, with everybody. Everybody. It's always a power game, you know. And then the people tell you, but the person tells you something, you get that, you buy into that pain. Now you're gonna hurt the next person that crosses your way, right? And it's always like that. So with relationships, just be like, whatever happens, happens, because that's the attitude. That's how you're liberated. Doesn't mean it will happen. Nothing bad will happen, you know, but that's how you feel liberated. Already, don't even expect it. Like, otherwise, you're always going to be, the person has to say something positive for you to like it. Something negative, you don't like it. Then they have to repay that with something positive. Then they become your little slave for 10 minutes or for that day because they messed up, so they have to pay back. And then next time they're going to say something negative and you're not going to like it and don't like it. And right, when they don't like it, you hurt them back, and then you need to redeem yourself a bit, so you have to say something good to them, so they like that forever. It's a power game. Can you love the person for who they are before anything else? Can you just love them for who they are? They're with you. You're the one who chose that, right? Change the dynamic, otherwise that curse is going to follow you forever. Love and hate. You got to transcend that. That's not your greatest potential. That's a power game. You're not really loving anybody right there. Okay? Release. Nothing bad is going to happen. She says something, or he tells you something. Don't let yourself be attacked. It's all good. And once both of you start operating like that, and both of you, that's why it's important. Show this video to the person you're with. Show them this video, because if the two of you align with that thing, with this thing that I'm saying, your capacity to disconnect of the ego emotion. Okay, it comes from here. That's your solar plexus. That's why I'm touching here, because this is where it comes from. This is the seat of the ego, right? If both of you disconnect from this, then life gets really serious. Then life gets really good. Okay? Then there's burdens and burdens and burdens of unnecessary energy and unnecessary weight that just get off your chest, in your back and your shoulders. That's when a strong alliance is formed. That's when a strong alliance is formed. Okay? Not an immature, feminine, masculine psychology alliance. No. A real one. Okay? Think about that. Send this video to the person you love.